Expected and what else we're tracking in the tropics.
And back here at home, we're bringing you the first alert for cooler temperatures as we start off your Tuesday morning.
And we're going beyond the atmosphere with NASA as they take us on a deeper dive through their scientific balloon program.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And welcome into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, Tania joining us again. Of course, the big story, this powerful Category 5 hurricane. I mean, it just keeps intensifying. I just saw a report, the pressure's down to 899 millibars.
Man, this storm is literally breaking records. It is intensifying so fast, and it's actually supposed to grow larger, too, just before it makes landfall.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. You know, typically these tropical systems, they'll go through intensity cycles. You'll see eye wall replacement, so there's a chance that the intensity may fluctuate now that it's at this level. I mean, they don't grow much more powerful than what we're seeing right now.
Right. When I'm in, it's like growing larger in size.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's another issue that this is going to be a part of Hurricane Milton, but we're tracking it.
Yeah.
We're following it closely.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And you know, one thing about Helene, when it was moving in, I think it caught a lot of folks there on the west coast of Florida by surprise with all the storm surge. Yeah. And here we go again. This is going to bring storm surge all along the west coast of the Florida Peninsula. Let's show you the latest on this, and it's a powerful Category 5, maximum sustained winds around 180 miles per hour. We've got some gusts over 200 miles per hour possible with this. The hurricane hunters, they've been out flying into this. A very small eye with this, as you can see there. It's only like 15 miles across. But as we look at the hurricane and its path over time, notice that we're still seeing a major Category 4 on Wednesday. And by this point on Wednesday, areas along the immediate coast here, anywhere from Naples to the north, even down along the Keys, there will be impacts to that surge and tide, and folks will start to notice that, and hopefully have those preparation procedures all wrapped up by that point, because this will come in quickly later on Wednesday. Really reminds me a lot of Hurricane Wilma when that system moved in, and as it goes across the entire state of Florida, it's still a hurricane, notice, as it moves across Orlando. But that's the latest advisory. Again, you don't see this all the time. You see those gusts there over 200 miles per hour. The pressure, this is showing 905 from that last advisory, but again, we just got an update, shows a pressure drop to 899. Hurricane Katrina maxed out around 902 millibars as far as the low pressure. But notice this stays well south of Alabama. Again, as we take a look at this, you can see those strong wind gusts with that. This will be making landfall late Wednesday night, again, right around the Tampa area as possibly a Category 4. But this is the most powerful hurricane since Hurricane Rita in 2005 over the Gulf of Mexico. And as far as Alabama is concerned, the only real risk for us locally or across the state will be those dangerous rip currents down along the coast. But we actually have a front moving through, and this is what we were telling you about, the cold front. 72 right now at Coleman. We have a nice breeze out of the north. Temperatures tonight will tumble into the low 50s out there. Nice cool start to the day. So we have the fall feel coming back for our area, and even another cold front that's going to be on the way for next week. How about these lows tomorrow morning? Check it out there, Tania. Low 50s around Coleman there early in the day. 53 around places like Pell City, and some mid 50s down around Clanton early tomorrow morning. But of course, that's cool weather, dry weather for us, but a much different story there for the state of Florida as this powerful hurricane approaches.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Wes. And we're really still talking about the entire state. You can see what areas are under watches and warnings, and this really includes just almost all of Florida, excluding some of the Gulf Coast of Florida. But notice the greatest impact area will be right around the Tampa Bay region and over towards Clearwater, if you're familiar, if you've ever been to that beach out there. But it's going to be a really impactful system, and let me explain why. Take a look at the tropical threats. One of the main threats that we're watching are winds, of course, hurricane force winds moving inland as far as Daytona Beach. Could see around 74 to even 110 mile per hour winds. Over towards Tampa, winds could exceed 110 miles per hour. You can still see some strong winds even across North Florida and even South Georgia, 58 to 73 miles per hour. But another impact, not just the winds, the storm surge. Here's a look at peak storm surges across Florida's west coast. It's really extending all the way just south of Tallahassee down towards Miami area and the Keys. But that strongest and really most impactful impactful storm surge will be right around the Tampa Bay area, especially as we're anticipating Hurricane Milton to reach this exact area. So from Bayonet Point all the way down to Venice, 12 plus feet of storm surge, and that's going to be one of their main impacts. But again, storm surge issues all the way down near Cape Coral and even towards the Florida Keys can see up to 3 feet. So that's one of the big impacts from Hurricane Milton. But to explain more on storm surges, we're going to talk to and really send it over to meteorologist Matt Daniel. He's going to explain storm surges and why it can bring so much damage.
Storm surge, that's going to be the biggest concern with Hurricane Milton. It's a small storm right now and very intense, but the models are showing it growing in size, and a larger storm is going to be able to produce more storm surge, and that can cause a lot of problems. We saw that with Helene, and I think we're going to see this again when it comes to Milton. So let's give you an example of that storm surge. We got our little three-dimensional model in front. We've got our home sitting by the coast, a very vulnerable area, of course, and we've got what we're talking about a normal sea level right here. We're also looking at the ocean surge coming in, those waves coming in from the storm, and you've got the wind. Remember, the storm rotates counterclockwise. So if you're at the center of the storm, you do not want the storm to be to the north of you because you're going to get the most significant storm surge. That's why the track of the center of the storm is going to be vital on who gets the worst and who doesn't get as much. So let's just hypothetically say the center of the storm ends up just north of Tampa. Well, that's a very vulnerable area. That's going to be the area that's going to have a significant storm surge. So at 3 feet, we're already starting to see that water make its way into over the beach and maybe onto nearby roads. And then when it gets up to 6 feet, it's already flooding pretty far inland. We're just getting waves of energy moving ashore. And at this level, you can start getting cars getting swept up from the water. You can get a lot of debris. And that debris is going to be hitting other objects, which will eventually cause those objects to move with the water as well. But when you get to 10 to 12 feet plus, which is some of the projections that we're looking at along the west coast of the Florida Peninsula, this is going to be covering up homes. It's going to damage those homes, it's going to sweep those homes away, and that could cause significant problems. So that's why everyone is encouraging those along the west coast of the Florida Peninsula to evacuate if they can, because storm surge, very difficult to survive in if you're stuck in it.
Well, this comes as Florida officials are issuing both mandatory and voluntary evacuation orders for those at-risk areas. Hurricane, tropical storm, and storm surge watches have been issued along the Florida Gulf Coast, and this is mainly down across the Florida Peninsula, and are expected to be upgraded as the storm moves closer. And as the storm is expected to weaken before making landfall slightly, that intensity is going to fluctuate. This still could be a powerful Category 5. It's also expected to grow in size, which this is still a very large system. There will be a large wind field once this makes landfall, and it's going to bring record storm surge throughout that area. Already hard hit from Helene recently. Governor Ron DeSantis speaking over the weekend about the state's plans for recovery efforts.
We have 51 counties in Florida currently under a state of emergency. The executive order that I signed over the weekend also orders all disaster debris management sites and landfills to be open 24/7 in the lead up to Hurricane Milton. We had a lot of debris left from Hurricane Helene on Florida's Gulf Coast. That creates a huge hazard if you have a major hurricane hit in that area this week.
Hurricane Milton joins Hurricane Michael as one of the only October Category 5 hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico. And what could be the largest evacuation effort since Hurricane Irma in 2017? Some Bel Air Beach residents are already preparing to evacuate, while others wait to see if that path is going to change. However, right now it certainly looks like the Tampa area is right there in the middle of that path.
We are very scared from the last storm. Our house was under 4 to 5 feet of water. We lost all our cars, all our furniture. The first floor was completely destroyed, needs repairs, the pool, the dock, all of that stuff. I'm still really scared and have nightmares from the last storm, so I really think we're going to evacuate.
And check out these scenes from Anna Maria Island. Debris lays on the side of the road as the cleanup process is still continuing after they were hit by Hurricane Helene just 2 weeks ago. They're under a mandatory evacuation order due to Milton. And just announced today, the Tampa International Airport set to close due to Milton's landfall. Flights will be suspended starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow and will reopen when it's safe to do so. They're asking those with flights to check directly with their airline for those flight updates. Well, in 30 seconds, we talk about the beautiful conditions expected for us here this week, as well as talk about the continuing recovery effort from Hurricane Helene. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into Weather Extra. I wanted to take you to a live look from Panama City. That's from schooners there. Milton's going to stay well south of the Florida Panhandle, the Panhandle region, and even the coast of Alabama. It's the peninsula where we're going to see those direct impacts down in towards places like Tampa. But the Gulf of Mexico, there will be some rough waters. We're looking at some very dangerous rip current risk along the Alabama Gulf Coast over the next few days. But around here, we've had a cold front moved in. It's been breezy, winds out of the north. And you can see there, nice little breeze over 10 miles per hour for this evening. It's a refreshing feel out there tonight. It's been so dry. And tomorrow morning, we're going to start out with temperatures down into the 50s. But the rest of our Tuesday, lots of sunshine tomorrow and a comfortable afternoon, showing a high right around 80. But for a lot of us, we'll stay in the 70s for afternoon high temperatures and another big drop in temperatures for tomorrow night. I mentioned kind of breezy this evening. The wind tomorrow, east-northeast at about 4 to 8 miles per hour. We'll be back to talk about the 10-day forecast and take you beyond the extended forecast.
Thanks, Wes. Well, we're going to continue to track the recovery efforts from Helene. Crews are still cleaning up and trying to help those who lost everything. Fox's news correspondent CB Cotton has more.
As rescue operations continue on the ground in the southeast, officials are working to not just clear debris and look for survivors. They're also separating fact from fiction amid rumors and misinformation that have spread online in the aftermath of the storm. Officials say former President Donald Trump is among those amplifying false claims. He's accused the federal government of withholding aid from Republican areas and claimed without evidence that relief money is being diverted elsewhere.
$1 billion was stolen from FEMA to use it for illegal migrants, many of whom are criminals, to come into our country.
The problem getting so out of hand, FEMA launching a rumor response page on its website addressing that claim and many others. Administrator Deanna Criswell says it's slowing down critical work.
We have resources for individuals. We want them to apply for assistance. This level of misinformation creates this scenario where they won't even come to us.
Elected leaders from both parties are trying to set the record straight. Republican State Senator Kevin Corbin posting to his Facebook page this week addressing some of the conspiracy theories while writing in part, quote, "Please help stop this junk. It's a distraction to people trying to do their job." The American Red Cross also tackling rumors, writing on X that misinformation, quote, "disrupts our ability to deliver critical aid and affects the disaster workers who have put their own lives on hold to assist those in need." Right now, FEMA has about $20 billion on hand to provide assistance. Congress may need to approve more to get the job done. Reporting in New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
The town of Oak Grove establishing a bottled water drive to assist those affected by Hurricane Helene. Take a look at this beginning October 7 through 11. This is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Anyone wishing to donate can drop off the water at the First Baptist Church of Oak Grove CLC building, where they will then package the water and get it to those areas that need it. And if you'd like to donate financially to help storm victims, this is a quick and secure way. Get your phone out and scan this QR code that you see right here on your screen. Our parent company, Gray Media, has partnered with the Salvation Army for this effort. You can also go to helenehelp.org to find out more information.
Good stuff, Tania. And just a reminder, that is Oak Grove in Talladega County. Want to make sure You have that information as well. But still ahead, we continue to talk about what you can expect for your week and take a look to the sky with NASA as they talk about their scientific balloon program. We'll be right back with more for Alert Weather Extra. Well, we're waiting on some new reconnaissance data to come in here on Hurricane Milton, but just to let you know, I've just got a report here. The minimal central pressure, they're of course flying into this thing, 898 millibars. That would actually put this in the top 5 of strongest hurricanes in recorded history. Hurricane Allen, I believe 1980, had a pressure of 899 millibars, so this would beat out Hurricane Allen from 1980. It's definitely a powerful system. They don't grow much stronger than this, and what typically happens when you have a system that is this intense, even though if it weakens a little bit, it's still a major Category 4, but it will go through some intensity cycles as it expands and as it approaches the state of Florida. But it's not unusual for tropical systems to form in this part of the Gulf and move in this direction. I've had a lot of folks ask me, isn't this unusual? Happens all the time, especially this time of year into November. And the reason for that is because the westerly flow, and we were dealing with cold fronts, that really starts to kick in and it picks these systems up and it takes them off to the east direction. We saw that with Hurricane Wilma, saw it with Hurricane Charlie, and here's another. This is going to move right on across Florida, and it continues to move out into the Atlantic. And again, I mentioned we had a cold front that moved through our area, and that's what's sort of protecting us, is keeping this to the south, and that flow pattern's helping to steer this system off to the east direction, and that's what's going to keep us well north of this system. But the way this is moving in, especially right there around Tampa Bay, the storm surge is going to be significant. This is going to have widespread impacts across central Florida, well into Orlando. It's still going to be a powerful hurricane. Even as it exits off the east coast, it's still going to be a very powerful hurricane right around places like Cape Canaveral as it moves on out into the Atlantic. But this will not turn north, not moving back towards the Carolinas. So for folks there still trying to recover from Helene, this stays well south of there, and of course stays well south of our state. Big story for us. I mentioned cool front moving in. Temperatures a big tumble tonight down into the 50s tomorrow morning. May even see a few upper 40s on the map. Otherwise, beautiful sunshine, nice little north breeze, just some incredible fall weather coming up here over the next few days for us. In fact, there's another cold front, check this out, on the way for next week. So we have a little drop in temperatures, that fall feel coming back. How about next week, lows down into the 40s? I think by next Monday night and into next Tuesday morning, we could easily see more widespread 40s here across parts of Alabama. So here it comes, fall, and we're looking at the dry weather hanging on, and it's just really a big temperature change there that we see. Highs in the low to mid 70s there by the middle of next week. But okay, and we're going to be tracking those cooler temperatures next week, Tania, and it looks like right now very dry. I know we have drought conditions in place, but with respect to the drought conditions, not what you want to see.
Oh yes, Wes, absolutely not. I was just looking here to figure out the date that we could possibly see our next chance for wet weather, and closer to 14 days out, I do think we could see a few showers around for not this weekend, but the following Saturday. That would make that October the 19th. So we hopefully do have some wet weather in the days ahead, but still several days until we get there. You'll notice though, the temperatures after that second cold front that Wes was just talking about early next week could drop those afternoon highs into the low to mid 70s. Back into the upper 70s as we approach that next chance for rain, hopefully by Saturday, the 19th of October. But looking dry beyond that, Sunday and Monday, as we look closer to 14 days out. So that's beyond the 7-day. Of course, things can and possibly will change. But when you think of NASA, you probably think of rockets and satellites, but did you know that some of NASA's biggest advancements in research are done with balloons? In this week's Degrees of Science, meteorologist Brady Taylor introduces you to NASA's scientific balloon program.
You know, everyone thinks of NASA, they're thinking of launching rockets up into space and satellites and stuff like that. Why would you use balloons to do research?
That is a great question. You know, the rockets are all very exciting and they do great work in the rocket world. But the balloons, for what we fly and where we fly, we give the science community access to the near space environment for extended periods of time, so hours, days, or weeks, or even months, which is very valuable to the science community because it gives a long time to gather a lot of data, a lot of information, which they may not be able to do in some other platforms.
What kind of observations or research are you doing with these balloons?
Oh, you name it. We satisfy a lot of the science community in heliophysics, astrophysics, earth science. So we have folks who are looking at the sun, they're looking at the universe, they're looking at stars. You name it, we can help them out.
How high up in the atmosphere are these balloons going?
So they go up in the stratosphere. So for us, our typical range of altitudes are between 110 and 160,000 feet. And that depends on the weight of the payload, the size of the balloon, and a few other factors.
So these balloons start out decent size. How much do they grow as they go up higher into the atmosphere?
A lot. You know, we fill a very tiny portion of the balloon, and it may be 10% or so of the balloon, because as it ascends into the atmosphere and gets lower pressure atmosphere, the helium gas inside will expand to its full volume. So our workhorse balloon is a 39 million cubic foot balloon, and that balloon, when fully inflated, is about 450 feet across. So it's massive.
All right.
All right, well, we're tracking that powerful hurricane. We'll have more advisories tonight, updates on that system, and some cooler temperatures.
Absolutely, Wes. We'll take a full look at that 7-day forecast. Wes, at 10, we'll take you a look at the 10-day forecast.
10-day at 10.
The 10-day at 10.
Yeah.
We hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoyed Weather Extra. We'll catch you guys back here later on tonight. All right, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. In 3, 2. Hey there, everyone. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here with a look at that 7-day forecast. The big story for this week is Hurricane Milton, but we're not going to see any impacts from that here across central Alabama. The big story for us is a front that has already moved through, dropping our temperatures. The mornings will be a lot milder to cooler, so grab the sweater, the hoodie before heading out the door. Afternoon highs, though, still really pleasant in the upper 70s, but mainly low 80s through the weekend. We have a first alert for another cold front coming back early next week, and we could see lows next week dropping down into the upper 40s and even low 50s. If you're looking for more forecast updates, don't hesitate to download the WBRC 6 News First Alert Weather app.